Hello, hi. Thanks for dropping by to listen in on another segment of Chats with Cath. With me, Cath. If topics on adulting and lifestyle interest you, welcome. I release weekly episodes every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central African Time. My episodes will be a mix between solo dialogues or interviews with guests. So drop by and have a chat. Hello. Welcome back to my podcast. Today is another solo chat, and this episode is a fun one for me. Well, I think it is a fun one. I want to have a chat around some adulting scams I feel like we needed discussed before we all woke up as adults. Who's with me? Yes, no, maybe, I hope. Okay, cool. Let's just delve right into it. I have 10 points which I have listed as a starting point for us to just delve into this topic of adulting scams. And the first one is adulting as a whole is never what you think it will be. Your interests, your aspirations, and your whole self and being will change. Nothing is ever the same. What I mean by this is that how you are as a child to a teenager, to a young adult, to a more fuller grown, mature adult is completely different from how you probably perceived or anticipated it would be. And that is due to probably the influences you've had around you that can go into education, social interactions, pretty much your entire environment around you can influence the type of adult you will become. But if you are under 21 and you're listening to this podcast, I'm going to tell you right now what I thought I was going to be doing at this time of my life is completely different from what I'm currently doing now. It is day and night. And that's not a bad thing. It is just more a very telling thing that you need to be aware of so that you can manage your own expectations in terms of what you're anticipating life will be like when you become an adult. You know how it is. When you're a child, you have preconceived notions of, okay, I'm going to be a fireman or a policeman or a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. You know, you get those basic career choices that are presented to you or you're exposed to that will, give you an idea as to what adulthood is like. And then you also get the opportunity to see perhaps shows or movies, hopefully under parental supervision. But I'm not going to try pretend like all parents monitor what their children watch. Well, in my day, not really, but I'm sure now it is more common. But you get to see, in a Disney movie, for example, how a parent acts, and then you will probably think, okay, so this is what being an adult looks like. And you have this image in your head, and maybe you see what whoever's looking after you, like a parent or guardian, looking out for you, and you determine from there, okay, so this is what an adult is being like. And I just have to be real honest, you guys. It is a whole scam. Because when I really think about it, being an adult, you're out there in the streets and you're out there alone in this world. And you have to make choices and decisions on what you want, or if you're not sure, what you think you want, and then hope for the best. And I feel like more conversations like this are so important because, from transitioning from a teenager, young adult to an adult, it is completely different. And I feel like you're almost ill-equipped to be an adult. And I find that's a little it's a disadvantage to, the younger generation and people, because they do need that guidance and those truths as to what this whole life thing is about. And because we don't discuss it and then they find out the hard way, you get a lot of angry adults in the end, and that's not cool. Okay, cool. So going into the second thing that is a bit of a scam for adults. Like when you're an adult, you're probably thinking, or when you were perceiving what being an adult would look like, you were probably perceiving that you're going to have a lot of time to hang out with your friends, because maybe sometimes, or some of you came from more stricter households where you had to be home at a certain time. You couldn't be outside at night beyond a certain time. And, being an adult, you're able to like go out, come back the next day when the sun rises. It's completely different, because it is almost like you have to schedule your time with people and yourself, because it's almost like a balancing act as well, because you can't do both. You have to make sure that you have time for yourself, which is rare, because when you're young and you're still trying to figure this out, you're trying to make time for people and activities just to do as much as you can. You almost don't end up spending the time that you probably need for yourself, so that you can go through self-discovery. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but it seems most people do tend to be in situations like that, where you're just like, yeah, you're young and you're having fun and you're just like spending all this time with all the people, but you're not giving yourself your time to spend time with yourself and discover who you are and what you want to do for yourself and what you want for yourself. And scheduling time for yourself and others is going to be so essential and crucial for your survival, because you almost have to be selfish, because you will have less free time. It is what it is. And that's why you get adults who are tired, and why if you interact with children or like younger adults or teenagers, and they are always like wondering, why are you so tired? And in their minds, they're probably thinking, oh, I have all this energy. I've just finished my homework or any assignment work that I needed to do, and I just want to be in the streets having fun, etc., etc. But then as an adult, you want to hang out with your friends. You also have work the next day. You also have other obligations like meetings or workshops or whatever it may be that you have to take into consideration. Hence why you get tired so quickly, and why you start like minimizing the amount of social interactions you probably have. I mean, there are still some adults who are still like living it up and like staying up late because they can. I mean, good on you. But like for me, if I'm not in bed by 9:30 and in dreamland by 10 o'clock, I am going to be the crankiest hun the next day. It's the worst. So that's something to take into consideration. And also, because you have less time, things do tend to become a bit more repetitive and almost monotonous, which is not nice, because you don't want your life to be boring, because you want to put fun things in it. But because you're running out of time and you have all these other things that you have to be doing, it becomes essential for you to schedule time for these things, so that you don't feel you're going into a rut and your life is becoming boring. So that's scam number 2. Scam number 3. The world and this universe will not stop to accommodate you. You are not above the law. You are not invincible. And the world does not rotate on this axis just for you. It rotates on this axis for every single living being and organism so that we all survive. Not just you, all of us. This is the world, the earth, the universe is the biggest team project that you never thought of. Like, it's consistently working together with other aspects and elements to ensure we are able to survive to do the things that we do. So if you think that this world revolves on an axis around you, I am sorry to tell you, but this is the harshest thing you will ever learn. If nobody told you this, the world does not revolve around you. Maybe people in your life and who are there for you are the be all end all for you and would do anything for you. That's different. But I'm saying the world in general, you need to be aware it doesn't revolve around you. You can get what you want from the people who look after you or the people you surround yourself with. But remember this. When those people are gone and there's no one else, and then you're encountering strangers or people that you have to interact with, and they are not budging or giving you whatever you want because you think the world will stop for you, you are mistaken. You're going to get the rudest awakening. The rudest. So yeah, please be mindful that you need to be considerate of others because they, in turn, I hope, are also being considerate of you. Okay, the fourth adulting scam that I learned was the art of learning patience. And patience is a virtue because if you don't master this art of patience, you will find that you'll get yourself in very difficult and sticky situations because then you want things now. And that's not usually the case. Like, not everything will just happen immediately at the snap of your fingers. It's never black and white like that. It is never as clear cut as that. You need to realize that some things do take longer than what you anticipate. And there are some things that, by the grace of God, happen much sooner. And learning to be patient and learning to assess the situation and see other aspects that are interfering in a situation or whatever that you're doing will take a certain amount of time, because you would want people to be patient with you based on what you will be doing for them or if you're interacting with them at some point. But if you think that things just happen right now, because we do live in a fast-paced world, you are mistaken, and you will fall very flat if you are not patient with yourself and if you don't practice patience with people you interact with or practice patience with situations you're in. A good example of this is I was very bad at practicing patience. I was terrible. Like, I was a complete nightmare. I won't even lie. I was impatient about pretty much everything. So if I'm applying for something, I want to know the next day. If I'm buying something, it must be at my door. And the thing is, your life or the things that you do when it comes to time, it's not like Amazon. It's not like Amazon, and it's not like Takealot. And you don't have Prime. Like, some things are just different. Some things just do take longer. For example, if you're applying for a visa, if you're renewing a passport, if you're getting your driver's license, whatever it may be, these things do take a certain amount of time that you need to be cognizant of, and you need to be practicing the art of patience in order to manage your own expectations so you're not angry and disappointed at the end of the day. Excuse me. Then, the fifth thing that is an adulting scam, and this is probably one of the most straightforward things that you probably hear, but it's also the hardest thing, I actually think. And that is, you are responsible for yourself. And for those of you who are like, no, like my parents are responsible for me, or my guardian is responsible for me, I need to tell you a hectic life lesson, come to Jesus moment. I don't know if you need to hear this. This is going to be a hard pill to swallow, but your parents or your guardians or whoever's looking after you is not going to be around forever. We are mortal beings, and at some point our expiration date will show itself up, and we will perish from this earth. We will perish from this form. We will go to another universe. We will go to heaven, hell, wherever it is that we go when we perish. Just be aware that you are responsible for yourself. When you're an adult, you will find very quickly that you're going to need to start learning to look after yourself. And that means you have to look after yourself mentally, where if you need to go to therapy, or if you're going for life coaching, or if you are gaining some help with like self-help books, or you are in a support group, whatever it may be, you need to make sure that you are nourishing yourself and taking care of yourself in that respect, because nobody else is going to do it for you. I mean, who else can do it for you besides you? No one is going to do it for you. I'm saying this for people who are just generally adults, and I'm not trying to cause offense, but the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, you are responsible for yourself. And then in terms of emotionally looking after yourself, you have to nurture your relationships, because those are the support systems you'll build for yourself in order to cope with anything that you're going through. I mean, if you're grieving, if you're happy, if you are angry, if you're sad, whatever it may be, or whatever emotions that you're experiencing, it is important and essential that you find the time and master how to look after those elements in order for yourself to thrive. Physically, I mean, know your boundaries, eat healthy. I know it's like, oh gosh, eat healthy, how many times? But I'm just saying that looking after yourself and nourishing yourself with good things that are good for you tend to bring out better results for yourself. If you are just eating junk food every day and drinking the worst things for yourself every day, it will catch up with you much later. Well, not much later, sometime sooner, but like it'll catch up with you, and you will look back and be like, oh, I should have eaten that broccoli instead of that Happy Meal. You know what I mean? So look after yourself physically. Go for walks. I'm not saying go for a run and be like a sprinter or a marathon runner. I'm just saying, keep some movement around you, because as you get older, when you hear the first week of cracks, like when you get out of bed and you hear ka 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 ka, that's when you know you have reached a specific point in your life or stage in your life where your body is just like, okay, sis, I'm struggling now. So looking after yourself is so important. And then spiritually, whatever you believe in, if whatever religion you believe in, or whatever entity you believe in, it is good to nourish yourself spiritually, because that definitely emulates in terms of like your whole being. I think it ties into so many things. It ties into your mental, emotional, and physical being. So being spiritual, if you don't believe in that, that is your business. But I do think that there is some spiritual aspect in each living being that is nourishing, that can grow, and just as easily can be killed and can get rotten, etc. So that is the fifth thing that I learned about being an adult. The sixth thing that I learned was an adulting scam was that keeping toxic people around you is something that you don't have to do. And why I think this is a scam is that we are told from such a young age that we need to honor family, we need to honor like friends, respect adults and etc. like that. And I'm not trying to assume this, but I'm sure that there have been some instances and situations. Some people have experienced extreme cases of this, or mild, I wouldn't say mild, but like situations that have made you unhappy and uncomfortable, and you felt obligated that you need to still interact and have a relationship with these people, even though it was making you very unhappy. I wish that it was more visible, and I wish it was communicated more that if people are not enriching you or supporting you in a way that you need, you are 100% entitled to cancel them from your life or distance them. This could be friends, this could be partners, this could be colleagues, family members, even just like the human in the streets. If you're feeling some kind of way about a person, and if you want to address it with them and continue a relationship with them, please do feel free to do so. However, you do not have to feel obligated to continue a relationship with this person just because you feel, or it has been dictated to you that you have to. So that is a hard scam to process and to like come to terms with, because we're told that we have to be people pleasers. Like the human condition, yes, the human condition is almost so sad that when people become adults, there's a narcissistic trait where we try force them to always be respectful towards their elders, even if the elders don't deserve it. And I think the hard truth here is it's a very tricky way, or if you're in a position where you need to talk about it and you know that whatever you say doesn't matter, you shouldn't have to feel obligated to like stick around just because this person is older than you and has power over you, whatever that may be. You are your own person and you have the right to feel happy and comfortable. And if people are stamping on that and being agents of Satan and raining on your parade, you can distance yourself respectfully and you can cancel them. If you are just one of those people who are like, you know what, actually, you are not watering my tree. If anything, you are just putting some dry ass sand and you're making me miserable. Goodbye. That is fine too. So it's okay for that. The seventh adulting scam that I learned is that you spend a lot of time working. So whether you're employed or if you are working for yourself, or if you are in a situation where you're trying to generate income for you to live, like where to buy food, because you need money to buy food. If you need to have a place to stay, if you need a vehicle to drive or a form of transportation, that is going to need a monetary thing to contribute to it. So the scam I'm trying to unpack here is that because you spend a lot of time working, you'll need to be conscious of what you're willing to tolerate. So whatever employment you're doing, it has to be worth it for you to some degree, because at the end of the day, Sometimes it might not even be your company. It might not even be something that you want to do, but it's a necessary endeavor for you in order to help you survive or to grow or to get to the next step, for you to do what you want to do, or for you to get into a better position so that you can do and explore other things that actually do matter to you. So you shouldn't feel that you have to stay at a place or be loyal to a place if you're being treated badly, or if you feel like you're being treated unfairly. 100%, you will have situations where you would have to address it with the owner, HR, whoever it may be. But you must be cognizant of what you're willing to tolerate in order for you to, whether you will stay and continue doing the same thing, or whether you will leave and try something else, or figure out what is your next step to, continue getting money so that you can survive. But what I'm trying to say is these things do need to be spoken of a bit more. The 8th adulting scam that I discovered was, you will come across people that you disagree with or even hate. And this could be in a professional setting, in a family setting, friend setting, or even a stranger setting. Whatever it may be, the world is not a Disney film. It's mostly a Netflix documentary most of the time. So if you are one of those people who is people pleasing and just doing it for the sake of you want people to like you in those settings or whatever it may be, just be aware. It's always good to be aware that it's not a Disney film. It's a Netflix documentary. Then the 9th thing that I think was an adulting scam was being prepared to be consistently in school. Because right now, as an adult, whether you are doing extra studies or whether you are just bumming around at home, whatever you're doing, you are in the school of life. And there is going to be something that will teach you something at some point, whether it's on a daily basis, a weekly basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis, whatever it may be. There are going to be lessons to be learned, and there's going to be continuous moments of you to grow or to disregard it and just stay where you are. It is what it is. The school of life is a continuous thing, and it will not stop until the day you die. And that is on period. Then finally, you guys, the 10th adulting scam that I discovered was being alone is the hardest thing ever. And most of the time, we are usually in situations, or we're usually encouraged to hang out with people and interact with people and always be social, if that makes any sense. And I believe that being alone is also very important, because not only is it hard, it is also very revealing, because you find out more about yourself in the time you have alone, because you will see what makes you angry, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you joyful, all these things. And if you don't take the time to be alone to discover these things, and you're always socializing, you're almost allowing other people and other scenarios to dictate what that is for you. And as I mentioned in a previous episode last week, that you need to be cognizant of what you put into your life. You know, when I was discussing the relationship Hunger Games, when your glass is half full and empty or full or whatever it may be, whatever you put in is what you will get out at some point eventually. And spending time alone is very crucial because it helps you determine how much time you need for yourself and what you're willing to like take in. So take it with a grain of salt, but please do take the time to spend with yourself so that you can think clearly for yourself, make decisions for yourself, so that you end up doing what is best for you. What are your best decisions? You know, those things are important too. So yeah, a lot to think about. And I think there's still quite a lot to unpack here because these are just 10 scams that, I felt that it would be a good starting base just to like open up the conversation. But I do think there's more to the adult life that is not discussed more often, and why young adults, even adults who are adultly adults, are angry about because, you would have wanted to know at like an earlier age so that you can almost prepare yourself so that you're not feeling some kind of way about being an adult. Yeah, something to think about. With that being said, you guys, go with God and see you soon in the next episode. Ciao!